Mike, how are you? Donny from the Point in St. Louis. It's nice to see you.
What's up, Donny? How are you?
Sir, you have the look about you as someone that has been running around crazy for at least a tiny period of time. Like you look like you need to catch your breath. Do we can wait a minute to get the interview started if you just need a beat. You know what I mean?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good. I was just struggling with hotel internet is all. So I'm
Ah,
good. Yeah.
very good. Well, Mr. Shinoda, we've got the Lincoln Park camp in town on Saturday night here in St. Louis at Enterprise Center. We are otherworldly excited to be welcoming you back to St. Louis, but I want to kind of go back a little bit to when you first got on stage with the new incarnation of Lincoln Park last year for the first time. Can you kind of talk about those emotions of what it was like for you to be back out there doing those songs with new members and, a ton of fans enjoying it?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's been almost a year, believe it or not. We just kind of figured that out. We weren't really like paying attention, I guess. We were just, heads down and having great time on the road and enjoying these shows. And so it is a nice time to kind of look back at this journey that we've had, and it's been incredible. I feel like before we stepped on stage last September, there was really no telling what the fans how the fans were going to feel about it, and we knew that we had put everything we had into this From Zero this album. And yeah, the reception has been insane. I mean, we were, understandably, I think you can kind of probably imagine like the anxiety was really high. Like we had really, no idea what was going to happen. And
Um,
now here, I mean, I think like a year later, like looking back at it, it feels like it feels like the shortest amount of time and the longest amount of time.
mhm.
Like because it's been moving so quickly and the fans have been so supportive and receptive, and even city by city, so many fans who have never seen the band play live are coming out to the shows, and to some degree we're connecting with fans that have been around for 20 something years, and in other cases we're making new friends, meeting new fans, and even winning people over in cases. So it's great.
That's fantastic. Now, I mean, I think probably one of the most commonly asked questions to you, and if it's not, it should be. But why because I understand that when you're talking about a group, that the group dynamic is so important. The personalities, the ability to get along with everybody, that sort of thing. I realize is probably in some instances as important as the talent of the person. But what made Emily and Colin, what made them for you the right people to be in Lincoln Park?
We thought about like what a future version of the band could be like for years. I mean, in 20 after Chester passed in 20 like 18, 19, I did a solo project to kind of like get some of that stuff. I had already been writing things. We had been planning to go on tour, and so I kind of had this void that I was like, instead of like hiding away, I felt like I needed to get out there and be with people and put some of those ideas there's things I was feeling and ideas that I had down on songs. And so I went out and did this album and this tour called Post Traumatic. And when I came home from that, I was really, really exhausted. And I would like I kind of recovered from that as I started like talking to in particular Joe and Dave a lot more. And bit by bit, we tried to write some things, and it didn't. There was no momentum. We tried again, no momentum, and then we tried again. And as we did that, we started talking about, what would it be like, a male singer, a female singer, somebody older than us, somebody younger than us, somebody our age, somebody who sounded a lot like Chester, who sounded like nothing like Chester. There were cover bands who sound a lot, who have singers that sound like him. Probably half a dozen or a dozen of them. I mean, like there are lots of options, and for us, like we tried out a few things, had a few people in the studio, and I think the more we worked with Emily in particular, it was like, oh, she's just like, she's so talented. we all felt like she hadn't even like reached her full potential as for as long as she's been singing, which is, as long as we've been doing it almost. It still felt like she had this like ceiling that she hadn't reached, or this thing above the ceiling that she thought she had, and we kind of helped discover it. I guess we kind of discovered it together while we made songs.
That's incredible. Well, and like, how long did it take for it to sort of feel like a cohesive, something that you were like kind of used to, maybe a little sense of familiarity to it?
Yeah. I said before that to somebody else that like the talent part, like being a good singer, that like gets you in the door. Like that's the lowest bar. So, and that bar is already very high. So the more we hung out with her, I think the real question was like being in a band, whether it's in the studio or making things and getting them ready to be put out, or being on tour, you're spending a lot of time together. And we knew that we wanted to have the best version of all of that we could. And so we were pretty careful about, we didn't say to her or to Colin, like, hey, this is Linkin Park, even in the beginning. We just said, oh, we're just making, like, we're friends, we're making music.
Hmm.
And in fact, Colin thought it would be like a solo project for me. And Emily thought she was just doing like a guest, like we were working on something for maybe a guest spot. And yeah, eventually the more we spent time with them, it just became, more like a group of friends getting together. It just felt like we'd
Hmm.
be working on stuff one minute, and then the next minute we'd realize, oh, we've been sitting around talking for hours, not even
Right,
working
right.
on anything. And that was really I think that's the magic of any band. Like you gotta have similar goals. You gotta like each other as people. Like you gotta want similar things, and then of course the music has to gel as well. But the music, I feel like the music kind of comes more easily if those other things are in place.
So I'm curious to know, Mike, you're always going to be a guy that's going to be working on something musically I mean, from what I could tell. How, so now, a few years after the fact, how do you look at the solo stuff that you did? How do you, like, do you look at it through a different lens now that you've got Linkin Park back up and running again? And, I would assume and hope I loved your solo stuff, Mike, like a lot, a lot. So I'm
Thank you.
selfishly hoping that you got more of that coming too.
Yeah, I'm not planning. I mean, I thank you so much for saying that. I feel like that energy that I put into that, it was a very specific moment in time. Sonically, in terms of like the sounds, you understand, I say that like lyrically, it was like a diary. Sonically, I think that those things were stepping stones to get to where I individually, where I ended up on From Zero. And I think I love putting that same energy into Linkin Park. Like it's just like for me creatively, it's a multiplier to be able to to get those ideas in front of the other members of the band and work up like like refined versions of them. It's almost like it's almost like some people in creative um, passion, like they do like critique groups or like
Mhm.
classes where they can put their art up in front of other students and get suggestions and criticism. And even people, we all even do that with our friends, like just text it to somebody and go, is this any good? My bandmates are that's like maybe the strongest critique group that I could have. I just feel
Mhm.
like I put ideas in front of them, and it really, sometimes it's like, oh, they give me a new idea that's even better. Sometimes they just point out something that's not quite right with it and I fix it. And other times they make a suggestion to change something and I go, oh, I don't like that at all, because I really like the idea that I like my idea more than I thought, and now I'm even more driven to like figure it out and like make it better. So there's lots of versions of how you can react to criticism, especially when you really love and respect the people that are giving the criticism.
Absolutely. I also, before we let you move on for more press on this day, can't forget Lincoln Park in town Saturday night at Enterprise Center. Mike, I'm curious to know. So after From Zero was already released, we get this frantic call from the record company. Hey, 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 we need you to be on a call. There's another Lincoln Park song. And we're like, wait, there was just an album of them. What are we doing? But you had those extra songs that you ended up adding to From Zero. Can you sort of talk about like how Up From the Bottom came about and how they missed making the first version of the record? Because we're at the time we were like, oh my gosh, are these guys just pumping out number ones left, right, and center, like with their eyes closed? Like, what is going
Well,
on? But how did that
it's
all kind of come to
funny.
be?
It's funny because From Zero is a short, I mean, it's a short album. I'm looking at the time, the running time because I forget. It's 31 minutes.
Wow, that is
And
very short.
yeah, it's a short little album. So
Yeah.
we knew wanted to put out a deluxe version kind of before we even like finished everything. And we didn't know what would make the cut. All three songs that are on the deluxe edition, almost think of that as the full album. Like that's the real album. Is
Hmm.
the deluxe edition with Up From the Bottom and Unshatter and Let You Fade. Um, it's like Unshatter was a song that was like maybe the first like important song that Emily sang on. It was like really, really early in our process of making the album, and it needed just some polishing to get ready to put on bonus. Let You Fade was a totally different type of song. It was actually like mostly piano in its original version, and then or in one version of it. It had a few different versions, and now that one that we landed on that we love is like a much heavier version. Up From the Bottom, actually, the one you were just talking about, that one just became the most like obvious single from that batch because it came last. Like I wrote it after we had already been put a schedule together for the deluxe songs, and we knew we didn't have the single. Like we had a couple things that we liked, but we didn't have one that was like a standout like lead track. And so everybody was talking and talking and talking about all these ideas of what we could do, and I almost like kicked everybody out and was like, I gotta write, like you guys are talking about all this stuff and I get it. I hear everybody's like stuff. Let me like take everybody's ideas and kind of like assimilate it all into one thing. And so for that weekend I wrote and this song popped out.
It's incredible. Mike, do you ever, and you probably don't because you're so busy in your world of doing all of these things, but do you ever like sit down and have a moment to yourself where you go, I can write? Like just to me, to hear you talk about, oh, I'm going to write this song is so amazing. That would be so daunting to me. It would make me sick. And you are just able to do it left, right, and center. Like you have to have time, at least I hope in your life, where you're able to sit down and enjoy life and go, gosh dang it, I can do that. And I'm really good at that. That's incredible, man.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, there have been a handful of times when I've been, fortunate enough that I see it as like channeling a song, like the song is out there in the ether and I just have to like find it. Like I have to like make myself open to be the recipient of that song and but at the same time it is like locating where it lives and so sitting down I'll doodle on a piano or on a guitar or make some beats or something and I'll have a lot of ideas like one will come. It's almost like fishing where you throw stuff back. Like I always
Mhm.
tell people writing songs for me is like fishing. It's like if you catch something it's too small and I'll hear it and I'll go yeah I like that but it's not. I feel like it could be bigger and then
Mhm.
another one. And by bigger, I don't mean commercially bigger. Sometimes I do, but sometimes it's like I just feel like there's a really good song out there waiting to like be discovered, and they're infinite. There's an infinite amount of songs out there. So why not, that's to me that's like the rather than feeling like writer's block or feel like it's daunting, I just feel like there's a there's so many fish in the sea.
And listen, I know you have to go, but I'm telling you what, in your future, you got to write a book about songwriting. You would
Oh,
be
I
friggin'
appreciate
perfect
that,
about
man. Thank you.
it. And just
By
even
the
watching.
way, before we go, since we are going, I didn't, since I didn't say anything about the show, I did realize These songs, like one thing that's really special about this tour is we're playing a lot of the new stuff. We are playing a lot of the old stuff as well. Emily is crushing on these old songs. Like that was one thing that was like a little bit of a like a you know we had to figure it out. Like we knew we loved how she sounded on the new stuff, and then it was like a question mark when it came to the old stuff. And she already like impressed all of us like last year with it. But having been on the road for a whole year, anybody on the road for a whole year doing this, doing the same or similar body of songs every night, like she's just fallen into her own, and she's like in her own category at this point. I think the show is so strong. It's a ton of fun, and fans, whether you're a new fan, like just curious about what the band is doing, or you're an old fan who's been around forever, I've heard from those and everything in between. Just coming in and having a really great night, and we're trying to give them the best thing, the best thing we've got.
Absolutely. Well, Mike, thank you very much. We will see you Saturday night at Enterprise Center. Linkin Park returns to St. Louis. And again, Mike, thank you for your time and good luck moving forward. You're one of our absolute favorites.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day, man.